Hey there and welcome. Just think about it for a second. We are surrounded by this absolutely mind-boggling diversity of life. I mean, it's just incredible. But how on earth did we go from this overwhelming chaos, to a system that actually makes sense of it all? Well, let's dive in and find out. Yeah, this is really the heart of the matter, right? You've got millions upon millions of species out there. Insects, plants, fish, mammals. I mean, where would you even start? The sheer scale of it all, it just feels impossible to wrap your head around. And it's not just about the numbers, it's the sheer, jaw-dropping variety. I mean, think about the difference between a blue whale and a tiny little bacterium, or a giant redwood tree and a mushroom. The diversity in their shape, their size, how they live, it's just immense. Okay, so to really get how we arrived at our modern system, we've got to go back, way back. We need to look at how our relationship with the natural world even started. And here's the thing, it didn't begin with science. Nope, it started with something way more primal. And this difference is absolutely crucial. Think about it. For early humans, it was all about awe and, frankly, a lot of fear. They grouped things instinctively, right? Like, is that going to eat me, or can I eat that? But the scientific view, that's a total 180. It's a complete shift to systematic study, careful documentation, and a formal logical system for everything. So the big question is, how did we make that huge leap? I mean, from a gut reaction to a real intellectual framework. Well, let me tell you, it was not a straight line. There was this major philosophical hurdle we had to get over first. And for the longest time, this was the roadblock. It's this idea called anthropocentrism. Basically, a human-centered view of the universe. The thinking was that everything revolved around us, humans. And that kind of thinking, well, it made it really hard to see the natural world for what it truly is. This incredible interconnected web where we're just one small part of the whole thing. So to break free from that limited viewpoint, to actually move forward, we needed a new tool, a completely new approach. We needed a universal objective system, one that wasn't based on our human needs or our fears, but on the actual observable characteristics of the organisms themselves. And the solution that scientists came up with, honestly, it was brilliant. It was a brand new framework for understanding life, and it was built on 3 super clear logical steps that anyone, anywhere in the world could follow. Okay, so here's how it works. It's a 3-step process. Step 1 is identification. That just means correctly and accurately describing what an organism is. Simple enough. Step 2 is nomenclature. Fancy word, I know. It just means giving it a unique, standardized scientific name. And finally, step 3 is classification. This is where you group it with other organisms based on what they have in common. But here's the really cool part. The goal here wasn't just to make a bunch of lists. Not at all. The real point was to create a universal language for the study of life. So a biologist working in Brazil could pick up the research of someone in Japan and know exactly what they were talking about, with zero confusion. This became the absolute foundation for global science. But here's where it gets really interesting. This system, it did way more than just help us organize stuff. It led to this incredible, profound revelation. Because once things were organized, we started to see these hidden patterns in the very fabric of life itself. It's like, once everything was sorted and grouped neatly, scientists could finally step back and see the whole picture. It was like putting together a giant puzzle. And in that big picture, these incredible patterns of similarity started to pop out. It turns out life wasn't just a random collection of different things. There was a hidden order to it all. And what they saw were 2 main types of similarities. First, you have what we call horizontal similarities. These are usually based on function. Think about the wings of a bat and the wings of a bird. They do the same job. But then there was the really profound discovery, vertical similarities. These are similarities that cut right across different groups, like the backbone structure that you see in fish and in birds and in mammals like us. And those similarities, they hinted at something much, much deeper. And this right here, this is the big aha moment. The climax of the whole story. Those vertical similarities, the shared bone structures, the common body plans, they weren't just some crazy coincidence. No way. They were evidence of a shared history. They were a massive signpost pointing directly to one of the most powerful ideas in all of science: common ancestry and evolution. Wow. So just to recap, we've gone on this journey from pure awe and fear of the natural world
all the way to a system that literally uncovers the story of life on our planet. So let's bring it all home and talk about why this whole framework is so incredibly important, especially right now.
Because at the end of the day, this whole science of classification, it's not about dusty old textbooks. It is a living, breathing tool. It gives scientists a universal language. It helps us understand the epic story of evolution. It reveals just how interconnected all life really is. And maybe most importantly, it gives us a map of the biodiversity on our planet, a map we desperately need to help protect. I just love this metaphor. It's like we took this vast, chaotic, beautiful, and sometimes scary world, and through patient, systematic work, we built a library of life. And in this library, every single living thing has its proper place on a shelf. And its story doesn't just tell you about itself, it tells you about everything it's connected to. So this system, it gives us this incredible window into our shared past, into our evolutionary history. And that just leaves us with one final big question to think about. If classification reveals so much about our shared past, what can it tell us about our future?